So Barca with the victory, taking a look at what that means at the top of the table. As I mentioned then, they are 7 clear of Real Madrid, who are in action tomorrow against Alaves. The pressure building on Carlo Ancelotti and his side. Meanwhile for Leganes, they showed a lot of fight today, a lot of promise. They come away with nothing, but you imagine they will be scrapping right to the end for a place in La Liga next season. For more on this, let's welcome in, shall we? Luis Garcia is with us. Luis, I don't know if they still make DVDs of season-winning runs from teams. However, if you were to put this together for Barcelona's season, this wouldn't even feature, would it?
No, probably not. Probably it's a game that no one will remember, but it was needed. Definitely, you could see by the reaction of the Barcelona players when they heard the whistle of the referee. They all really celebrated. You could see Gavi just screaming, just pushing, because they know how important it was. It's not an easy stadium to go to Leganes, Botarque. The game was not as we expected, a dominant Barcelona. We saw in the second half how Leganes start finding their way of getting and hurting Barcelona, those quick transition with long balls. But in the end, it's something that we mentioned in the beginning of the pre-game. This is a Barcelona that is more mature. They understand what it is, these kind of games. They are not trying, if we can score the second one, it's fine, but we need to be solid. We need to seal the victory by being well organized at the back, and that's what they've done. Even with the rotation, that I think they were a little bit chaotic. We saw players out of position. The pressure was not as accurate as it was in the first 45, but in the end, they managed to get that first goal and then put the pressure on Leganes. And it could have been a second and a third goal for Barcelona. But the 3 points were really, really important. And again, you could see by the reaction of the players.
It's a trait of a good side, though, isn't it? You don't play well, you dig a result out, you're away from home at a team fighting for their survival, who are trying to make it difficult for you. You can't play this silky, smooth, sort of 4+ goals a game as they have done since the start of the year. I think 50% of the time almost. It's almost impossible to keep that going, particularly when teams sit as deep as Leganes did. And saying that to them, though, they didn't just sit deep, they offered the threat going forward too. So you're looking at Martinez making last-ditch challenges he did in the second at the end of the game there. You're looking at Szczesny making saves, and that's what they've had to do today. But they will look back at this game, and you do as a player. You'll look back and think, do you remember that game where, particularly when you're close to the end of the season, you think, right, it doesn't matter how we got over the line, we just need to get over the line. And this was one for digging out 3 points, and Barcelona have done that. Not a very good performance, but it's 3 points nonetheless.
But kind of given the week that Barcelona have had and Real Madrid have had, it almost feels as though this wasn't that important. Now, this was just another game that you have to kind of get through. But the truth is, and Luis hit the nail on the head, this was a vitally important 3 points. Barcelona lose here and Real Madrid win tomorrow. All of a sudden, it's a 1-point gap. And kind of the feeling we've had over the last few days that Barcelona just running away with everything here, and all this pressure's on Real Madrid, and Ancelotti's on the verge of losing his job. All of a sudden, it's a very different conversation if you don't beat Leganes here. And kind of, you wonder if that kind of complacency or sentiment kind of settles in as Barcelona continues. Certainly, we expect Barcelona to play at least 3 more Champions League games this season. So you can't afford for that kind of, well, we'll just show up. It doesn't really matter, because despite Real Madrid's own issues, they are still within touching distance.
Let's get some reaction now. Sid Loco with Eric Garcia after the game.
One of those games that wins you a league title?
Yeah, I think it's one of these type of teams, this kind of environment, this stadium where you need to compete. I think that's what we've done today. Of course, we all know we didn't have our best day. But yeah, at the end of the day, the most important thing are the 3 points, yeah.
Sometimes I think when we watch games like this and it's hard for a team to find a way through and the space is tight, we tend to come into the flash zone after the game and say to you, why was it so difficult? Do we sometimes overlook how difficult it is, even against the teams near the bottom?
Yeah, it was really tough. I think they showed us at home also when they won, and today was kind of the same. When they defend deep, they defend really good. Of course, I think in some kind of passes we were a bit sloppy. I think we weren't fresh 100%. But as I said, this type of games you need to compete. You need to compete because that's what they do. They compete, and if you equal that, then of course you're going to have chances. Yeah.
The freshness that you talk about, is that more physical, more mental?
Well, I think we are at a point where the season is nearly coming to the end. But on the other hand, are the most important games. I think all the games we have are finals. So I think that tiredness, you need to change for competing, for trying to win this type of games that you know is going to be tough. And that's why we're happy for you.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, about how you're feeling about your role today. 2 different positions. In the winter, it looked like you might be on your way back to Girona. What is it that's changed for you over these last 2 months?
Well, I've just been working hard, waiting for my opportunity, and taking the chances. I think showing the manager that he can trust us in different positions. And of course, well, today starting at holding midfielder, then dropping at centre back. That's part of my job. I need to adapt to wherever the manager wants me, and that's the most important thing for me, yeah.
Thank you.
No two ways about it now, Luis. Sunday's game between Alaves and Real Madrid is must-win for Carlo Ancelotti's side.
Yeah, for Ancelotti, Real Madrid side is a must-win every single weekend. There is no more mistake. There is no more dropping points because Barcelona looks like they are going to continue in the same momentum. And the problem for Ancelotti is that those rotations need to be very accurate. To play against Alaves is not going to be an easy game. You have to win it, and I'm sure that a lot of players are going to be with an eye on the midweek game against Arsenal because, again, it's going to be tough. It's going to be intense. And the demanding is going to be huge. So, very difficult moment for Real Madrid. Again, it's Real Madrid. We all know what they are capable of, and we've seen it before. So it's about putting pressure to them, and Real Madrid needs tomorrow to get the 3 points.
It's a difficult one, though, isn't it, really?
You'll be in the studio, Craig, for us. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, early rise.
Yeah.
Ish. But it is a difficult scenario that he's left. They found themselves in where they're not out of the title race, but they're chasing. They're pretty much out of the Champions League, but you never know what's going to happen. So how does he approach team selection? Because they're already a little bit bare bones in some positions. We saw that in the Arsenal game with Valverde going back to right back. So, look at Modric having to play in the middle of the park, only him and Camavinga, and getting sort of outnumbered and outmuscled by Arsenal. But it's kind of, you got to look at this Alaves game first. You can't really think about the potential comeback in the Arsenal game if that is going to happen, because these 3 points are so important. So they really have found themselves in a bit of a pickle on both sides of that coin, chasing results, but getting team selection key to get the 3 points, but keeping people fresh and no more injuries for the Arsenal game coming up in midweek. So I would imagine it's quite a few headaches for Mr. Ancelotti at the moment.
Luis Garcia, thank you, Frank. Luis is in Kuala Lumpur at the moment, so go
get your breakfast.
Go and get some sleep, mate. So it finishes Bayern Munich 2, Borussia Dortmund 2. We'll get some reaction from Thomas Muller in a moment. Let's just take a look at how things look at the top of the table. 6 points separate the top 2. Before we hear from Thomas Muller, let's hear from Nico Kovac, who joined the guys pitch side.
You made a lot of changes before the game, because often we talk about players, or is it formation? You also went back to 3 or back 5. What is the biggest difference? What does this team need? Is it the formation, you found it, or have you now found the right player, especially Süle coming back after such a long time?
Yeah, as a coach, you would like to play something, but you need to see what is at the moment possible. And I asked the players, to be honest, what's your preference? And they told me, Coach, we would like to play 3 in the back or 5 in the back, and I said, okay, for me isn't the problem. Important is how you live the formation. So you can play 5, you can play 4, but you must give everything. Yeah, it's always for me an easy excuse to say, yeah, 4 is not the right, 5 is the right. No, you must fill it with life.
Can you do it against Barcelona?
Yeah, to be honest, it's very difficult, because Barca is not one. I think there are 2 steps above us. They beat Bayern Munich 4-1. Real lost, so it's not so easy to play against them. But what is our ambition? Our ambition is to win the game. Is it 1-0, 2-1, whatever? But we are playing at home, and we would like to give a little bit of gift to our supporters.
So normally I know if Bayern leads, then there's usually the game is over. And same in Inter Milan, or against Inter Milan, you scored the equalizer, and after that, quite short after that, you gave away a goal. So what's not going that well that you cannot keep the lead then, or like the equalizer?
Yeah, we can talk about both ends of the game. The second goal of Dortmund was yeah, you know, in football, when you put a ball into a 22 men, everything is possible. So there is also random situations, but Guirassy had a real good action, to be honest. And on the other hand, we can score. I think afterwards as well, with 2 or 3 big situations. I missed a pass for Serge. Harry missed a big chance. I think Michael in the end. And then we would stand here and say, oh, this Bayern attitude, they're always winning after they concede. Yeah, in the end, we are interpreting results. I know what he means, but yeah.
My impression was your energy level was very high from the beginning, because after the game on Tuesday against Inter, I thought you're really good coming off the bench. Today you showed you can also start. What do you prefer? Especially looking at the game against Inter, do you like to make an impression when you come on from the bench, or you want to start? What's your better contribution?
Did you ever met a player that said he want to be benched?
You can get him into the semi-final if you come off the bench.
I know, but to come back to the question, did you ever had a player that answered, I want to come from the bench because I have a better feeling from the bench?
If you win the game, why not?
Yeah, but did you ever met one?
You can be the one.
Okay. I try to be the one if I start or not.
Thomas, just finally, we're sorry to see that you'll be leaving Bayern at the end of the season.
Yes.
How is it for you right now? Because I've seen in the mix zone, after defeats, times when you've not played, you're the one who turns up and has helped the club out of so many situations. Is it tough for you on that level that it's all coming to an end now and you don't want it to happen?
No. What happens. Yeah, it was clear that the moment will come, that the end will come for everyone. Maybe next year they sack you. I don't know, because
I hope not.
Maybe if I look into your face, I don't know if he's sharp enough.
He called
maybe get more sleep, amigo. but no, we are now in the big competitions. I don't think too much about what's coming next. I think to be well prepared for the games, but I know that the end will come fast here at Bayern. I think now it's mid of April, so 1 month, 4 weeks. Maybe when we get the finale at home, it's a little bit longer, but yeah, it is what it is, and it's no problem.
So it finishes Arsenal 1, Brentford 1.
So about that Tommy Muller interview.
Let's take a look
Oh,
at
good God.
the table. After drop points for Arsenal, Liverpool, of course, are in action tomorrow with a chance to extend their lead to 13 points at the top of the table.
Exciting, isn't it?
Don Hutchison joins us.
Here, Don.
Is he here?
I am.
Oh, there he is. Perfect.
Hey! What do you think of that Tommy Muller interview? Fantastic.
Don, big deal or not?
Say again, Dan?
Big deal or not, this draw?
I felt for Arsenal slightly, Dan, because they've got eyes on the Bernabeu midweek. So it's obvious when you watch their last couple of games, in their heart of hearts, Arteta knows that the title race is done. That's why he rested so many players against Everton last week and drew that game. They've got eyes on Real Madrid this week, so he rested a few players, tried to give some players minutes to finish the game today with 10 men because Jorginho got taken off after making all the substitutions. It's a game that he'd like to win, to try and win with a bit of pride, but to be honest, mate, the last 25 minutes of the game, it was so one-paced, they were allowing Brentford to get back into the game because they looked a little bit comfortable. They didn't have the gears to try and go through, understandably. But it's another draw in Arsenal season where you try and compare Liverpool and Arsenal this season. Arsenal have drew too many games this season. That's been their downfall.
No big deal. No. You just have to see Arsenal's starting lineup to understand that, all eyes are on Real Madrid in midweek. Not just his starting 11, but his substitution patterns with Mazu Skelly, Odegaard, Saka coming on with half an hour to go. I think Timber came on. Marino comes on with 15 minutes just to get some minutes, just to try to keep sharp for midweek. The title race is done, and again, from the time you saw the starting lineups, you kind of got that feeling that Arteta was acknowledging as much. I don't think Forest deserved any more than they got.
Yeah, so Everton 1 then, Forest 0 is how it finishes. Don Hutchinson still with us. This is where Don says, I called that game.
I did. Good game. I disagree with Shaka. I thought it was a great game. I actually thought it was a great game. I thought it was... I did. I thought it was an old-school game. I said at half-time the team talks were very easy. It would be Nuno asking for more passion, more sort of verve in their game, because I thought for the first time this season after the loss against Villa, I thought they looked a little bit negative today. Not like they played poorly for us, but they start to look over their shoulders. I think after seeing Man City win in the early game in the Premier League, the likes of Villa were always going to beat Southampton. Newcastle have got a winnable game against Man United at home. Chelsea play Ipswich, so they're probably going to win the game as well. So for the first time this season, I got the sense when I commentated on the game that Forest were looking behind them, not looking whether they could try and reel Arsenal in and try and catch them. There was a bit of uncertainty. As I said, not like they played poorly, but I thought they played quite negative. And I thought Everton absolutely bossed the game. I thought they deserved to win the game by a long stretch. I thought they were that good. I thought brilliant away performance from David Moyes' men. And that's now Forest 2 losses on the spin. So they're having a little wobble against a fantastic Everton side under David Moyes.
Don's one of those that watches a film that gets 2 stars and he loves it.
Did you not? Did you not? Art. Did you not enjoy this as much as Don?
No, you're right. He's right about Everton. Everton were the side that looked like they were always had a better chance. It looked like it was going to be a draw, to be fair, until that mistake. But they were the better side, Everton, for sure. If you'd have said who's top 3 and had a great season, who's sacked the manager and struggled, and you'd have said, well, Forest are the side that have been fighting relegation for part of the season, and Everton, you know, that's how it looked. And I think Nottingham Forest today sort of morphed into what they are. Is an average team who have superseded all the expectations by being organised and had Chris Wood scoring goals. But I actually think now, and we just saw that little table there, you're right, 2 weeks ago we were all sitting saying it's pretty much a given. The landscape has changed. Mm-hmm. It's changed by the way that other teams are playing, with Chelsea 1 game in hand, Newcastle 2 games in hand, Manchester City winning, Aston Villa in good form, and Nottingham Forest have hit a bit of a buffer. And normally when they're organised and play teams like Everton, they'll look really dangerous on the break, which was a little strange that he left Elanga on the bench, brought him on for half an hour or so, but left him on the bench when, you know, I thought, particularly with his form, that was a strange decision. But they normally create chances on the break. Forest rarely looked like scoring today. Everton deserved their win. And the goal they gave away for us was a catalogue of errors. Murillo gives it away with a bad touch. And then Dwight McNeil has come off the bench. It's a good pass, but Alex Moreno has a chance to defend it. And he doesn't know where he's looking at the attacker or looking at the ball. And the ball somehow manages to get through and Decore finishes it. Great 3 points for Everton. But if I'm Nottingham Forest now, I think there's a fair chance they could tumble out of the top 5.
And this is the thing that kind of amazed me with the Forest performance at home is how good they've been at home. And some of these scalps that they can boast of. Draws with Liverpool, beat City, United. I mean, and then this kind of inept performance from Nottingham Forest at home. And I think Don's right. All of a sudden, Forest, while have been comfortable in third all season long, now all of a sudden they get nervy looking over their shoulders at who's to come. And for the first time this season, kind of forgotten who they are and forgotten what's gotten them into third place. And as a result, I feel it's coming apart at the seams at exactly the wrong time. Gone are those results that had us all singing Forest praises, and now they are getting into their own heads. Right now, they're their own worst enemy.
Well, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, just a quick one off what Shaka and Craig were saying there. Just a very quick one on Forest. And as I said before, they've gone back-to-back losses. They play Spurs away next. So the pressure is on them.
City 5, Crystal Palace 2, then is how it finishes. Taking a look at what that means for their race for a place in the top 5. They currently sit 1 point clear of Aston Villa, who won against Southampton. Nottingham Forest, meanwhile, of course, losing against Everton, opening the door for the chasing pack. But all the talk after the game was about Kevin De Bruyne. Here's Pep Guardiola.
Kevin is not a vocal leader. The leader is every day. During 9 years, 10 years, I've been every 3 days, except the last year and a half, being there, helping the team. And I have something, talent unique. Everybody knows it. Have a vision in the past and have, you know, when the players up front, Kevin has the ball and when he's feel like this, they know they can run because the ball can be delivered. The problem is when make a run, when the deliver player is not with this talent. But that's why Kevin is He's the player in this history of this club, all history with most titles.
He was sensational today, Don.
Amazing. It's like De Bruyne back to his best. I thought the big turning point in the game was when Ez's goal for the 3-0 got disallowed, because at 3-0, if that goal had stood, I don't think there was any way back for City. They looked a little bit slow, but then once De Bruyne got that goal back to make it 2-1, he just absolutely ran the show. And I think Pep's talking there about the 9 years that he's been at Man City. It's the day-to-day involvement that he has, how he lives his life. Even when he's injured, he does the right things. He always says the right things. He's a superb player. He'll rank as one of the best midfield players in the Premier League of all time. He'll rank right up there in the conversation in the top 2 or 3. And he showed today that he's still got a lot to offer. That's the most important thing. He's not just going to leave Man City without a fight and showing his character and his quality. At the same time, if you're thinking of buying Kevin De Bruyne, wherever he might end up, Premier League or MLS or Saudi, wherever he goes, they're going to get a top-class player, because, you know, you'd like to think normally when a player moves on, they can be replaced. And there's talk of players like Florian Wirtz, completely different player, really, really skillful, but not on the level of Kevin De Bruyne. So it's going to take some replacing. It might even need 2 or 3 to try and replace him. He's that good.
Well, why didn't he do this more this season then?
Well, that's what I was going to say. That is part of the Kevin De Bruyne issue now, is that he has still got this in his locker, but not as consistent as it was. And that's sort of Mother Nature catching up with you, as it catches up with most players. He's looked a little heavy-legged. He's had some more injury problems. And whereas he was playing like this probably, 9 games out of 10, it's probably 1 or 2 now. And that's not taken away from the talent. It's just that he's not able, certainly, unless something changes next year, wherever he goes, he's not been able to do it for City as regular as he once did. And I think he's realised that. You have these moments, you have these games, you have these bits of individual brilliance, which you'll never kind of lose. But what it seems to me he has lost is the ability to keep repeating that, probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Right.
With all the cup competitions and the midweek games and the Saturdays. And of course, he like a few of them, has been a victim of Man City's poor play, where you're looking at one guy can't carry the team. I mean, people talked about Rodri being out, and maybe that would have solved the problems. No, I mean, we've talked about it. He's a terrific player. He's not Superman. And I think the same with Kevin De Bruyne. He's just carried this team, along with a few others, for so long that he can do it now and again. He just can't do it as regular as he once could. And I think that's why he'll go somewhere where it's a little bit slower and the tempo's a little bit easier. And that will suit him as he goes further into his 30s.
Jack, you look at City, second half, they were vertical, they were quick, they were exciting, they were productive. Why?
The turnaround on that half-hour mark, starting with the Kevin De Bruyne free kick, it was incredible to witness. And if you're a City fan, you're probably frustrated looking at that City performance and kind of recognising some of your struggles all season long. Because truth be told, Palace should have been 4 up. Mateta had a chance from 6 yards out that he put over the crossbar, and that would have made it 3-0. And then the Eze offside goal. And then all of a sudden, Kevin De Bruyne scores the free kick and the game just totally changes. And Kevin De Bruyne, it almost seemed as though he just decided, I'm going to take control of this game. I'm going to remind these fans of how good a player I was. Nobody from Palace could live with him. And in truth, without him, City, even with the scoreline and as good as everybody may feel, nobody else held a candle to Kevin De Bruyne's performance. And had he not been there, I think we're having a very different conversation about City's performance. And that, again, is the frustration in that for all this money that City has spent, you have to rely on a player who has got 1 foot out of the door to really carry this team over the line. They probably will finish top 5, I think, but Kevin De Bruyne has a big role to play.
It was a huge day. This was a huge result for City. We don't normally talk about Man City sitting where they are, scrambling to get in the Champions League and it being a big result, but it was. But it sort of first half an hour encapsulate what City have been about for the big chunk of this season since they fell off the cliff. And what is the biggest issue for them? Is it getting Haaland hungry and fit and continuing to score goals, or Marmoush, or is it replacing as Don said, a Kevin De Bruyne with some silky players, or is it fixing the issue, which I think could be even bigger and continues to be a problem, is that they are so easy to score against. And as Shaq said, it could have been 3 or 4 before they even laid a glove on Crystal Palace. So what is the biggest problem? Is it getting the legs in midfield that they don't really have anymore? Is it replacing the craft of De Bruyne? Or is it finding a way to fix a backwater, a back four that, no matter who he plays, it leaks like hell?
Don?
Great question, and that's what I think Guardiola will be pondering in the summer. I mean, he signed Nico Gonzalez. I think when Rodri's back, you might see those two play as a double pivot together in midfield, because I think that's the one thing when you look at City. They've still got lots of classy players. They've still got the likes of Haaland and Marmoush, Phil Foden to come back next season and have a stronger season, Doco, Savinho. So they've got talented players. But you just feel as though anyone now, if they're on their game, not even on the counter-attack anymore. I don't even think Crystal Palace were playing counter-attacking football. They were tearing them to shreds at times. And that's unrecognisable when you watch a Guardiola side. So I think when he looks to try and strengthen this squad and have the rebuild, the tools are there in terms of the goals that they're potentially going to get. It's keeping clean sheets. And that's just not down to Ederson, even though he might move on as well. Ortega, if he's the number one, or they buy another goalkeeper. It's not just the goalkeeper. It's having stability in a back four. It's having 2 centre-halves that you don't want to play against. It's having midfield players that'll just block off anything if any team even thinks about passing through the lines into centre-forwards, into number 10s. So Guardiola will solve it, I'm pretty sure of that. But it's going to be a fascinating summer to see what style of player he brings in. Does he go all out for the Florian Wirtz and the silky sort of number 10s and tries to outscore teams? Or does he go for players that are going to be a little bit more rugged in midfield?
One last thing on De Bruyne, Don. He said afterwards he's not ruling out the possibility of going to another Premier League club. Is that feasible? Does that work?
It works because he's so good, but someone would have to be a little bit patient.
He's good. He's been good today. He hasn't been good this season.
Oh, no. Well, if you're going to let me finish what I was going to say, I might just give you the answer there, Daniel.
Okay,
I was just about to say, someone's going to have to be patient, and someone's going to have to understand that De Bruyne can't play, 2 games a week. So whoever he goes to, so I could see it being a team that's not in Europe, for instance. Therefore, that would give him a little bit more rest. So just playing domestic football. But does he want that? Does he want to go to a mid-table Premier League side after winning a lot with Man City? So the answer probably might be a no. So it'll be fascinating to see where he ends up. But I wouldn't say absolutely not that he's not going to stay in the Premier League. I could see it, but it'd be fascinating to find out where he wants to go. Liverpool's his dream. I mean, he's always been a Liverpool fan, but I can't see that one.
I don't see him staying in England. I don't. He's had his time in England, a couple of spells in England. Second one, clearly much more successful than the first. Along with Mo Salah, good business from Chelsea back in the day, getting rid of those two. But I just don't see it, Dan, because he's had so much success at this club and personally that anything else is just a drop down.
Right.
And I think a disappointment, really, unless he does go to somebody like Liverpool or whoever, which is unlikely. That they're going to be looking for somebody at that stage of their career. So it just seems likely to me that he's going to go somewhere where, again, I say the pace of the play is a little bit slower and he doesn't have to expend that amount of energy. I just don't see him dropping further down the league, getting frustrated, and all the rigours that the Premier League and some of the other leagues are going to bring him.
Here's a challenge with signing a Kevin De Bruyne. While he's shown quite clearly he has a quality, you need to put legs around him. So
he's not cheap.
But he won't be cheap. But then if you bring in a Kevin De Bruyne, you have to build a team around him to kind of cover that ground to make up the running. And then he's had 2 injury hit seasons, and then this one inconsistent. So you build a team around Kevin De Bruyne, and you're not quite sure how reliable he's going to be all season long. And that's a difficult task.
Inter then 3-1 on Bayern 21-10. In case you missed it, here is Archie chatting to Thomas Muller.
Thomas, just finally, we're sorry to see that you'll be leaving Bayern at the end of the season.
Yes.
How is it for you right now? Because I've seen in the mix zone, after defeats, times when you've not played, you're the one who turns up and has helped the club out of so many situations. Is it tough for you on that level that it's all coming to an end now and you don't want it to happen?
No. What happens, happens. Yeah, it was clear that the moment will come that the end will come for everyone. Maybe next year they sack you. I don't know, because
I hope not.
Maybe if I look into your face, I don't know if he's sharp enough.
He called
maybe get more sleep, amigo. but no, we are now in the big competitions. I don't think too much about what's coming next. I think to be well prepared for the games, but I know that the end will come fast here at Bayern. I think now it's mid of April, so 1 month, 4 weeks. Maybe when we get the finale at home, it's a little bit longer. But yeah, it is what it is, and it's no problem.
Really, he's fantastic value, isn't he? Really good.
Listen, but he's just destroyed all three.
I know.
They're all the way home crying tonight. And he's just come back in the dressing room and he said, "You ever see these three Muppets?" That are
if you didn't see the two previous questions as well.
Anna Friedrich asked him, so I don't know what he asked him, it was so long. And then Thomas Hitzelsberger asked him, asked one of the greatest German players of all time, if he preferred being sub or a starter. I mean, he was loving it. I mean, he's a personality.
No, but he seems genuine as well. And it's looking into your eyes, you could be sacked tomorrow.
I've heard your questions. You should be sacked.
You look tired as well.
To be fair, we hear a lot of sort of mundane, sort of cliched manager, player. Not only has he been, and I'm not writing his obituary, but and Archie's talking about him leaving. He knows it comes. He's a smart guy. He knows it comes to an end.
Yes.
You have to move on. But not only has he been entertaining on the field, he generally. Do you remember the Stuart Robson interview as well? That when Robbo interviewed him, I mean, he was just fun.
Right.
Not Robbo.
not Robbo. Fun is not in Robbo's lexicon.
There's not enough for me. There's not enough of this kind of personality around these days. Yeah. Somebody that he plays hard, he lives hard, he gets it.
Archie looked a little hurt.
He just needs some more rest, apparently.
Don, it is good, isn't it, to have someone, as Craig said, who is not just delivering you cliches.
Amazing. I mean, what a character. I mean, it's hard to believe, really, when you go back to when Guardiola was the manager. He didn't fancy him. He didn't fancy Thomas Muller. He hardly played and was probably looking to sell him then. So the fact that he's been Mr. Bayern, and as you said, he's electric, isn't he, when he's either on the pitch, but more so in his interviews. I mean, he's got a life in punditry written all over him because, his personality's there, his character's there. He doesn't mind taking the mickey out of other people. He's comfortable. He doesn't mind taking the mickey out of himself at times as well when you see him on social media. So, yeah, he's been some player. I think, as Craig said earlier on when we were talking De Bruyne, and I think when you see that interview and replay that interview again, I think what Thomas Muller's saying, that what can never be beaten is Father Time. It catches everyone. So he knows that he's had some career. He'll probably think about that later on, but he'll still play on for sure.
Oh, Father Time.
There's four people at that desk. There's only one I'm going for a pint with. Any of those three working for ESPN. And I tell you what else.
I think the feeling's mutual as well.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I don't want to have stupid conversations all night about sub and not sub. And I tell you what else Thomas Muller's doing when you go for a beer with him. He ain't talking about football.
No.
He's putting the ball away and chatting normal stuff.
Don, he's going to be out though come Wednesday.
Yeah, be a miss. I think you laughed me off when I said Inter would get a draw in the Allianz. Well, they actually went one better.
Don. Everyone went for it. I
think you Don, I've had Inter going all the way. You're not the only one.
I think we only laugh because we know you love Inter, and there's no way you're going to say anything bad about them.
I do, but no, it's not that. I'll call any team out if they're poor, but I think someone like Inzaghi is criminally underrated as a manager. I think sometimes he can be a genius. I think he's an exceptional manager, and to go to the Allianz and get the 2-1 and bring them back to San Siro, I think they'll go through. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Bayern could do it. I just think Inzaghi will set Inter up. I mean, the perfect game today for them. They beat Cagliari 3-1 today, and on the hour mark, he took the majority of his big players off. So he's rested them for the last half an hour of the game, prepping them for the game against Bayern. So I think you'll see Inter sort of shut up shop. I don't think they'll be as gung-ho. They'll wait and see what Bayern do, but I think they'll pick them off.
Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Don is with us. Don, it's interesting you mentioned old man time catching up with you. Craig and Shag have got to the stage where we watch the show, it's so hot at the moment.
It's not hot.
The thermostat's at 74.
It's not hot.
It's like an old people's home in there.
It's comfortable. It's comfortable.
Stuffy is exactly what it is.
Why would we want to sit in a room cold.
But normal
62
people,
degrees.
that's too hot.
Nobody sets their thermostat at 62 like you.
You have your heating set at home to save money.
No, I don't.
You do. You're
No,
tight.
no,
You're
I'm
cheap.
not Stevie. I'm
You're
not.
tighter than a photo finish. Right? You refuse to put the heating up because
There's a passcode. It's like your phone. You can't
gas
get into
bill.
the.
You're not putting those magnets on the heaters, are you? Stop it turning round.
Why was Xhaka so fiery yesterday? You had that argument with Jan, didn't you?
Yeah, it's just a weird.
By the end, extra time managed to tick off Kay and Ali as well. You annoyed Kay and
No, I
Ali?
didn't.
Jan?
No, I didn't.
Friend like you, Shank.
What was
No,
the Jan?
dude.
What was the Jan?
Jan was again banging on
A long,
about
unnecessary argument.
What was Jan?
Everybody has to have two great goalkeepers. I don't understand. I don't understand why that goalkeepers are afraid of competition. It made no sense.
Well,
I didn't upset anybody else.
All right, this viewer obviously felt that you did. For Mr. Burley,
What's that? What I've got?
if you were Real Madrid manager, would you play with your regular starters tomorrow or would you rest them?
No,
They have to win.
Yeah, you. At this moment in time, you could argue there's a slightly better chance of, with more games left, of catching Barcelona than beating Arsenal. You're looking at me with that sort of glaciate.
No, that makes sense.
Was you figuring that out?
I'm just thinking. I was thinking, Craig has made an interesting point there.
So you have to get the balance right, and tomorrow's game, if you want a cliche, the next game is the most important one, which it is for Ancelotti at the moment.
This is a great question because it's going to mess Don
Thomas
up.
Muller wouldn't have said that. Thomas Muller wouldn't have said that. That cliche.
Hold on, what did he say?
He said Thomas Muller wouldn't have said that. We had an interview with Thomas Muller today and he was asked whether or not he prefers to be on the bench or starting, which has then been a running theme pretty much throughout the whole show.
You know, I mean, it's not even...
It's Hitzelsberger who played, who asked the question. It wasn't like it was someone, an idiot like me.
Tommy Muller must have... Tommy, as if we know him. Thomas Muller must have went back to the dressing room and went, lads, I've just had...
We, as if me and Dad had anything to do
I've just had
friendliness.
these three Muppets asking me. Yeah. What would you prefer?
Don, get ready for this, okay? Because you can't just say 50-50. Obligatory percentage question for Don. Percentage chance Barcelona win the Champions League.
Ooh.
Oh, my days. So who's left in then? Remind me, because I've done a million games today. So Barcelona are going to go through.
Well,
who do they play in the semis?
So they
play in Dortmund, and
they will play Inter in theory, or
they'll beat Dortmund.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they'll play Inter.
Right.
We know who wins that.
I think Inter will beat them.
You think Inter will beat?
I think Inter will beat them.
Okay, so it's a low percentage. So zero. Say again.
I can't go zero. How can you go zero against Barca?
All right.
I can't go zero. That would be nuts.
Okay.
I'll give them 20%.
20%, and then how would you divvy up the rest?
Well, I've not got that far yet, Daniel. I was giving you 20% on the. I was giving you 20% on the Inter game.
Comments on the automated offside being used in the EFL today. I thought it was great today. Save a lot of time. Well, yes, it's not the first time we've seen it, is
EPL,
it?
not EFL.
Oh, sorry, I say EFL. Apologies.
People are, why are they getting all giddy in England about this?
I don't know. We see it every week in the Champions League, in La Liga, in the Bundesliga.
Because it's the first week it's been used, Craig. It's the first week it's been used.
Are they not doing it tomorrow?
The offside.
Shaka came in with some dodgy information saying they're not using it tomorrow. Is that true?
I've not heard that, Shaka. Have you made that up? Is that what your algorithms are saying?
My sources.
Really?
That's what my sources told me.
Well, there we are. All right, then.
Why wouldn't they use it tomorrow?
I don't know. We're asking me. I don't know why they didn't use it all season.
I'm thinking this is one of those kind of Stevie sources.
We'll see tomorrow.
Doesn't feel right.
We know how it works. They come in, they make a quick decision.
I know.
And then when they get a little break, they'll go back and show you. And it's automated.
Yes.
Semi-automated. I mean, why?
As Shaka says, the right question is not how great it was today, it's why hasn't it been used from day one?
Yeah.
And it's no more apt than after we had to sit through that Tottenham game last weekend and the 5-minute one, which wasn't even that difficult.
Yes. What about Poch and his leaks?
There's leaks at Tottenham.
What do leaks do?
Leaks? He's saying there's a leak
at Spurs.
There's a leak in the Spurs dressing room.
Pochettino?
Oh, but Pochettino,
Postecoglou.
Because team news keeps getting out, and they've been aware. I've not really been. I saw a little clip yesterday of Postecoglou's presser, and they've narrowed it down. got Colombo for the slightly older viewers. And he's asking...
Marple, they're all out.
Poirot. Is it Poirot?
Poirot, yeah.
Poirot. Columbo, Starsky and
Vera.
Hutch. Oh, Don Johnson.
Vera.
And
Really resonating with the younger generation.
name me a detective. Law and Order. Oh, I'm a Law and Order.
Yes.
So they've narrowed it down. They don't need the SUV. It's not as important as that.
Right.
They've narrowed it down according to him, as if it's their biggest problem.
It's fantastic.
We used to managers get paranoid about that. I remember Craig Brown, the late Craig Brown, Scotland manager. He used to get, I'm going to tell you the team 2 days before a game, whatever it is. Don't even tell your mum and dad, your wife or your girlfriend, your partner. Don't tell your uncle yet. Don't tell anybody.
Wow.
And usually, somehow it always managed to filter out, which had managers like, how did that go?
Don, was leaking a problem in your days?
No, not really. I mean, as Craig said there, like, if a manager's telling you you're playing, you're going to phone your mum and dad or your brother, sister, whoever, and say, do you want to come to the game because I'm playing? So it probably went on, but I think for managers, I think in Postecoglou's case, he's starting to be a little bit paranoid. I mean, he's brushed aside that they've lost 16 games this season and it must be down to the leak, because what's a leak going to do? The worst thing a leak can do is tell someone what the side's going to be. The system never really changes, so that's not a problem. So obviously it's poor if you've got one, and it's quite disgusting if you have got one, but I don't really think it has that much bearing on the outcome of a game.
Paranoid, these managers.
Oh, Anne's just gone off.
Well, I remember, I don't know if I told you this, I remember when I was, years ago, when I was at Setanta doing commentary with John Champion, we were doing I think it was a Newcastle-Middlesbrough game, and Gareth Southgate at that point was manager of Middlesbrough. Champers being Champers, scurried off and got the team off Gareth Southgate. I was never big for getting the team. You'll get the team an hour before anyway, so who the hell cares? And John came back and he says, well, I have the team, but Gareth said, he gave me the formation, but we have to set it up in the graphic, a different formation, so that we don't, and I'm like,
who's watching the graphic?
Well, because we're putting the team graphic up 5 minutes before the kickoff,
right,
and talking about it in the gantry, and I'm like, are you serious? Freaking, that's how paranoid they are. He wants me to put the left side player on the right side on the left. When the game starts, Newcastle go, oh, he's playing over, and I'm like, managers just drive you nuts.
Oggy tells the story, doesn't he? Because he ran a story that Rio Ferdinand wasn't going to play for Manchester United one day, and he didn't, and Manchester United lost, and Sir Alex Ferguson blamed him for breaking the story and banned him from the press conferences.
Well, to be fair, any reason to ban Oggy is a good one, isn't it?
Craig, what's your updated prediction for Southampton? Do they get 2 more points to avoid breaking Derby's 11-point record and still reach your 15-point total?
My 15-point total?
Did you predict they were going to get to 15, maybe?
Oh, did I?
I don't know. I wasn't listening to you.
I thought I meant I was at Derby when
you just started it all.
We were bad, but we were not that bad. Trust me. Did I say 15?
I don't know, Craig. Do you think they're going to get 2 more points?
How many games is left?
7.
No.
Right.
I don't think so.
There we go.
That manager, man, he's put his age, doesn't he?
He's gone. He got sacked.
Oh,
yeah, he got sacked on Monday.
What day is this?
Today's Saturday. Yeah, he's out.
After the
relegation.
Guess who's in charge, Craig?
Yeah.
Craig, guess who's in charge?
Oh, he doesn't even know who's going to be sacked.
Guess who's in charge?
He's been sacked.
A set-piece coach.
Yeah.
A set-piece coach is now in charge.
What's the point of sacking him? I mean, it was an impossible job anyway. What day is this shit?
Set-piece.
Monday. What the hell have I been doing all week? We never talked about that.
No.
What day is this?
You weren't on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday Champions League for some reason.
Well, that's a big story. Why wasn't I made aware of this on Tuesday?
I think there was something called Champions League on. We start the Champions League show with Southampton. I didn't know either. Final question. Don, Norgard's challenge, scissors from behind a red card, and as a professional, do you know how to make a challenge that leaves something on the opponent and also avoids a red card?
I never thought that was a red card. I thought he was low enough. I think Arteta made a big thing after the game because I think he was deflecting away from yet another draw and a bit of a drab performance. I think he was clutching. I thought that was a yellow card. It wasn't a scissor tackle neither. He was really low with his right foot. Yeah, he caught Martinelli, but when you look at the red cards, if you compare that to Tarkowski, I mean, Tarkowski should have a 10-match ban if that was going to be a red card.
Right.
So, yellow for me.
Don, is there a way of leaving something on a player without getting a red card? Just addressing that last bit.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course there is. Absolutely. You can be a little bit more subtle, yeah. Of course you can go low and you can try and bend the rules slightly because that's what we do. I mean, it's not like back in the day when they first sort of brought that rule in where as long as you touch the ball, anything goes. I mean, some of my worst ever tackles were two-footed tackles because you could take the ball and it was legal back then. So thank God, pardon the pun, they've stamped that out of the game. But you can be a little bit cute in terms of bringing someone down or committing a foul if you wanted to leave someone a little bit on someone. But to be honest, Dan, I don't really think, apart from the Tarkowski one, I don't really think players go in anymore to try and hurt someone. I don't get that sense. There's going to be mistimed tackles, 50-50s that are late. I never really see anyone trying to do anyone anymore. I don't feel as though that's in the game anymore, as I said, apart from Tarkowski on McAllister.
That is it. That brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you very much for joining us. A big thank you to Thomas Muller for giving us a laugh throughout the entire programme. We'll be back tomorrow to reflect on some big games in the Premier League, plus, of course, Real Madrid against Alaves.